I'll answer it the same way as before. It is a role playing game, right? There is no such thing as downtime. You just have the life of the characters. If you're playing the game right, you sit down, you play the life of the character. You're playing. Now, again, it doesn't mean you have to play out every tiny little detail. In my in the answer to the question that I put, I said that, because if you do that, it becomes a bad episode of 24. I don't need to know if the character's getting enough bran in his diet. But it's still you still play through the life of the character. You don't there's no, so that means, if we're gonna travel from Scarabray to Shangri-La, then you travel from Scarabray to Shangri-La. That's part of what the characters do. I never care for the terminology of, we have our playtime, we have downtime and all that. There is no downtime. There's just the characters' lives. I mean, I've had good games where players actually played their characters to the point of where they had their houses detailed and decorated. They had bought houses in towns. They had held parties. And then that also it was really, in the one campaign, in the one generation, I should say, in the campaign that I was running, it even allowed retired characters would show up and make cameos and stuff, because they knew the other characters that were active and having these things. So it was kind of, it was cool. We really brought the world alive.
Oh yeah, that's absolutely 100% true. And I think primarily the reason the stigma is established is because younger players come into the game in our modern society thinking it's going to be something like an Xbox game, where you're every 5 seconds, die, respawn, kill, die, respawn, kill, die, respawn, kill. And you kind of lose that social connection and, the repercussions or the establishments of that connection to the rest of the world around them. So I agree wholeheartedly. If your character seeks to own a pirate ship while everyone else seeks to slaughter, you should have that opportunity to own a pirate ship, to work for your money, and to build it yourself if you so seek to. And right now, this is the first time in quite a really long time that the campaign I'm running is actually being a little bit more social. People are seeking out houses. They're trying to establish, small businesses in town and run trade revenue with different cities. They're thinking about all these different elements now that I think mature gamers consider more than the immature ones do. I think it's the most important part of role playing. That's ultimately what we're doing as dungeon masters. Is we're setting up an environment in which they can interact with people, how they can't usually do it in normal society. They get to encounter different types of people doing different types of thing that our world has kind of overpassed over the years. And if you own your character, you should want to own it for more than chucking an axe, at an orc every 10 seconds. And a character is based on personality. It's based on characteristics of that. And if all you have to your character is your throwing axe, then for you, downtime is probably meaningless because you're not throwing your axe at something. But for everyone else in the party who's invested their time and their efforts into these things, and maybe different aspects like intelligence, wisdom, charisma, a lot of what they do as characters is social. It occurs during the downtime. It's not so much combat oriented. So I think that the downtime shapes the party. It shapes your individual characters, it shapes that party, and it also shapes what everyone around those characters thinks about that party. Anyone can storm into a goblin camp at 10th level and slaughter everything there. That's great. But what does that say about you and your character as an individual? And how are you going to go back to town and explain that to people and expect them to love you if their town is not even threatened by the tiny goblin encampment? So I think downtime is ultimately the most important aspect of role-playing.
Yeah, and they, for the most part, says the same thing. Yeah, I think it's just part of it's part of the game. You're playing a role playing game, so you're taking the role of the characters. You're not you're not playing. If I just want combat, there's games out there for that. So